Coming up throughout our Day 5 coverage of Broncos training camp. 9 News Broncos insider Mike Klis shares his thoughts on Denver's dynamic running back duo. Then we'll learn more about the mindset second-year cornerback Pat Surtain II has brought into camp this year. And finally, former Broncos offensive lineman Orlando Franklin joins Steve Atwater to share what they see throughout practice today. All that and so much more coming up next.
Welcome to Broncos Training Camp 2022 with Steve Atwater. Here's your host, Alexis Perry.
Hello, Broncos country, and welcome inside the UC Health Training Center. I'm Alexis Perry, happy to be joined by 9 News Broncos insider Mike Klis. Steve Atwater and Orlando Franklin, they will be along here shortly. But first, after a big high-energy practice on Saturday in front of 7,000 plus fans here at the UC Health Training Center, the Broncos enjoyed a much-deserved day off on Sunday, and they now return to the field for a 2-hour practice, moderate practice there in shoulder pads and shorts. So, Klis, what were your biggest takeaways from back together Saturday, and how do you expect things to ramp up here today throughout Day 5, given the fact that they'll be in pads tomorrow?
Yeah, the big thing was the crowd, like you mentioned.
Huge.
Yeah, it was a record for out here.
Yep.
Apparently, non-stadium training camp crowd. So that was the biggest thing,
Right.
takeaway. And then they gave a good show. They gave those 7,100 people a good show. Russell Wilson. What I noticed with the offense, Russell, there's 2 plays that they call. Or there's 2 plays that happen after the snap. There's the play that Nathaniel Hackett calls, and then there's the play that Russell Wilson checks out of and starts improvising, starts scrambling around.
Who does that remind you of?
John Elway.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one thing, and he had eyes for Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy caught a ton of passes. Patrick Surtain against Cortland Sutton. Surtain has been getting the better of it so far in camp, and he made another phenomenal pass breakup. He seems to have one every camp. It was funny, Justin Outen, the offensive coordinator, can you let us complete a pass just once, please? So, but it was good. It was competitive. The execution seemed to be good. There was no jumping off sides, anything like that. I thought it was a good practice.
What are your general expectations for today, given the fact that they are now in shoulder pads for the first time this camp?
Yeah, the shells with the shoulder pads and the helmets. And like you say, tomorrow they're going to have the full pads.
Yep.
They're going to go, what you said, moderate pace today. And then the real heavy, strong, fast pace tomorrow. That will be the day to be out here. Nice crowd today, by the way.
Yeah.
But, more work. Sometimes it's mundane. Sometimes it's just practice.
Exactly.
There's a reason why they don't charge for practice.
Right.
But it's all necessary, and especially with a new offense, new coach, new quarterback, everyone's got to you just need rep after rep after rep.
You mentioned this offense, something that I know that we're going to see out here today. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, they have been pushing each other throughout camp to be the best that they can be. Of course, here in Denver, this is a running back duo by committee, of course. Why do you like this format that the Broncos have here?
Well, 2 is better than 1. I mean, last year, Melvin and Javonte combined for over 1,800 yards. If you have one back and he gets 1,800 yards, you're talking about how great the running back is.
Right.
Here, you're not really talking about one guy being an all-pro or even a Pro Bowler, but the combination production is there.
Right.
And they both catch the ball. They're both good in pass protection. I think Melvin's a little better in pass protection because he's bigger.
Yep.
And he's also, because he's a veteran, it's about recognition. Figuring out, just because the outside linebacker's lined up looking like he's coming, doesn't mean the other guy isn't going to be the one that's blitzing. And Melvin knows how to recognize that a little better. So I think it's good, and the Broncos do too. That's why they brought Melvin back.
Of course. Well, you mentioned Pat Surtain a little bit earlier. Defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero, he mentioned that it is crazy just how smooth and effortless that he makes this whole NFL thing look for him in year 2. When thinking about Pat Surtain's game, how have you seen him really elevate this already impressive game that we saw throughout his first year?
He was impressive last year. Year 2, it's impressive with confidence.
Yes.
He's not a rookie anymore, and he's going up. No one has beaten him. Yeah, what's unusual about Surtain is he's I believe he's 6'2".
Yes.
And is that smooth. Can shift the hips or whatever they talk about, those football experts.
Explosiveness.
Yeah. And, like I say, he's gone up and battled Cortland Sutton and figured out how to beat Cortland Sutton on those 50-50 balls.
Yep.
And Cortland is the 50-50 master, which says something. Now, one way that I think might be able to help Surtan is put him on KJ Hamler in some of these drills.
Yep.
Because KJ's back today. And, he's got that quickness, that elusiveness that maybe might give Surtan a little more trouble.
Well, to learn more about what an elite year 2 would look like for PS2, I stole a minute of his time as he was heading out onto the field a little bit ago. Take a listen. Pat, you absolutely balled out in front of over 7,000 fans here on Saturday. It is clear that your understanding of this defense is apparent. Why do you think that this system is such a good fit for you?
I just think that schematically, when you put the pieces together, it fits perfectly with the talent we got in the secondary. And, it allows us to make plays in this scheme. So credits go out to the calls, the defensive calls and all that, because, once you know the plays faster, you play faster as well, too. So I give credit to that.
How has going up against Russell Wilson in this high-tempo offense positively impacted your game?
It impacted me a lot positively. Just going against him every day just makes me better as a player. Just going against an elite quarterback like that, you just get better each and every day, and you learn new things. So,
given your success in year 1, do you feel like a little bit more pressure maybe to have a little bit more of a leadership role this year?
I wouldn't say so much pressure because that's expected from me. So I just feel like, it's my time to, I ain't a rookie no more, of course, but, I'm just provide that leadership to the younger guys, of course, and, just keep on showing my play on the field and just lead by example, of course.
What does a Pro Bowl caliber season look like for a cornerback in this league?
I would say, just interceptions, of course, but also, playing confidently and just locking down your opposing receiver. So I feel like that's one of the important aspects of a Pro Bowl season. So
it looks like you're well on your way. Have fun out there today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Perfect. A 22-year-old that carries himself like a 10-year vet. It is safe to say that he is going to have a memorable career. But now, as we transition from stretching and warm-ups to now individual drills, I'm so excited to introduce today's special guest alongside Steve Atwater. Drafted in the 2nd round of the 2011 NFL Draft, offensive lineman Orlando Franklin spent 4 seasons in Denver, starting all 63 games he appeared in. Franklin is most known for his protection of Peyton Manning throughout that historic 2013 season when the Broncos set the single-season record for points scored with 606 en route to their Super Bowl 48 appearance. Orlando, Steve, take it away.
Oh, thanks so much, Alexis. Looking at those highlights, big O, now he's much smaller O.
First of all, could I get these highlights so I can show my kids? Because they don't believe me that I played football back in the day.
They don't believe it?
Yeah, no.
You haven't showed them any film yet?
Not yet. That's the purpose of being out here this year at training camp. I said I got to get with boxing those guys because I need to get some film so I can sit down and watch it with the kids and just let them know, like, Dad used to be a pretty good football player.
Yeah.
Before he got all slim and trim.
So, this is interesting, man. You started 16 games, 3 out of your 4 first season in NFL with the Denver Broncos, and you played 15 games. That I think it was your 3rd year.
Yeah.
How are you so durable? I mean, and how did you come in and play right away? Was it just you were that good, or team was bad, or great coaching? What?
Well, didn't really have a choice coming in and playing right away. I was a 2nd-round pick, and they told me, hey, you're the plan. There is no other plan, so you better figure it out. I was blessed to play next alongside Chris Cooper. Chris Cooper kind of got me up to speed and just was on me every single day. And I knew that I could play at this level. It was just, that playbook went from being a 200-play playbook to a 600-play playbook. And all of a sudden now playing in the National Football League, it's a lot, everything's more scheduled in time. You don't get that whole off season like you get in the college because I came in the year of the lockout. So it was very much, hey, this is what's going to happen. As far as the durability aspect, they do a heck of a job here, Steve, and you were here in this program as well. A lot of other teams are not like this. I missed 1 game in 4 years here.
That's crazy.
Starting for the Broncos, yeah. But Greek, Steve Antonopoulos,
yeah,
you had
that's
Greek.
my guy there.
Greek did his thing, and Greek, I trusted in the system and was able to just be as durable as possible and be available.
Yeah. Well, taking a look out there at the field, we got Garrett Bowles out there, 72 offensive tackle. Now, you had some variability in the positions you play. You started off at right tackle, and you went over to left guard. How often does that happen?
Well, not often at all. Kind of when you get to the National Football League, as far as you being a starter, you hone in at that one spot. You know, I came in from day one and started my first 3 seasons at the right tackle position. A unique thing happened here with the Broncos that year. Zane Beadles ended up signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the year before that we had Chris Clark that started at left tackle the whole season for us, and Ryan Clady was hurt. So the idea was, how do we get all 5 of our best guys on the field at the same time? Well, I had played 2.5 years at college at the left guard position, so I guess they thought that I would be able to make that seamless transition. And Zane Beadles, coincidentally enough, the guy that was playing left guard before me, was the right tackle before I got here with the Broncos as well. So it all just worked out.
Well, that's strange to me, because it seems to me like, all right, at the right tackle position, you got to set a certain way, and then you got to kick step a certain way. And then when you go over to the left side, it's just the opposite. And, you know, you got to have a different skill set for the guard position than the tackle position. Yeah. So how did you make that so seamless?
Yeah, so at the right tackle position, you know, when I was here, we were always taught that we have to shoot, we're shooting our left hand, we're shooting our inside hand. So for me, I was always shooting my left hand. Ryan Clady, being the left tackle, he would shoot his right hand first. So that it was opposite in that aspect. But when I first got to the left guard position, I tell you what, Steve, I was happy as heck, because now I get to play and use my quickness against guys that are slower, but are just more powerful guys. And me coming into this league, I always prided myself on being a mauler. That's what I wanted to be. So it didn't matter that I had to go against these D tackles, because I was just as big as these guys and I was just as physical. So after working my butt off in training camp to feel comfortable now in a left-handed stance, because I'm playing left guard, I was good to go. And getting help from guys like Terrence Knightman was huge as well. Having a Pro Bowl player like that going against him each and every day, being able to talk with him, what did I do good, what did not do good, he made things easier on Sundays, for sure.
Are most teams like that, to where, just say a young player or a player who's playing a different position like you were, the player opposite you, they're helping out, you know?
Yeah, not at all. You know, to be honest with you, Steve, that didn't happen until we got DeMarcus Ware. Once we got DeMarcus Ware, he's the one that brought that to us back in the day, where now he would sit there in practice and he'd be like, hey, y'all, O's light. Like, we'd be lined up against each other, and he'd be calling me out, hey, y'all, O's light, he's pulling, he's pulling. And I, sure enough, was getting ready to pull. And, you know, after that play, I went up to him and I was like, hey, why did you see that? What was I tipping off? And he was like, hey, whenever you're pulling, you know, you have that left leg back a little bit, and now that toe's pointed out towards me a little bit more. Where if you're going straight, your left foot and your toe that's back is pointed straight up the field. So he taught me that, and now it started rubbing off on other guys, where other guys started doing the same thing.
Helping out.
So if I would have a good rep against Vaughn, or I knew Vaughn was stunting, I would tell him, hey, this is what you're doing. This is how you're tipping me off this way. And it just made us a better team, because now we started talking with each other back and forth each and every day in practice.
Wow. Well, going back to you playing multiple positions, I think there are going to be some players on this team doing the same thing. Billy Turner, of course, can play both tackle and guard. Got Quinn Miners, who has played some center. He's also right now the starting guard. And then, of course, Graham Glasgow, who was the guard, also played center when he was with the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
How much does that help? Because I'm thinking, on the one hand, it's helpful to have guys who can do that, but does that take away some of the person's, as they take away from a person being great at one thing?
No, not at all, Steve. You know, I would say the Broncos are in a very unique position. They're actually in the best position they've been in over probably about the last 7 years when it comes to the offensive line position, because being able to have those guys that are very versatile, like you're talking about, only allows you to say, hey, if something does happen, now we could roll another guy in and we could keep on going. But also the big thing is, hey, if you're not playing well, if you go out there and give up a sack, if you let down the team in a big moment, there are guys that are, chomping at the bit, just biting at the back of your heels, ready to get in there and play and replace you. So now this competition is really good for this team, because there have been too many times over the last couple of years where it's like, hey, you're the starting left tackle, you're the starting left guard, you're the center. And these positions have been given to these guys where they haven't had to earn it. I remember being here with the Broncos. I had a bad game. The Broncos worked out Richie Incognito.
Oh,
I was sitting there like, what? Are you kidding me? Watching that up on the ticker, right? But in my mind, I was like, of course they should be doing that, because we expect to win Super Bowls here. It's not just get into the playoffs or anything like that. And as you know, with Russell Wilson coming here, the Super Bowl window is open for the Broncos. So the competition, everybody should be competing for a spot on this roster, but also everybody should be competing for a spot to start come game day.
Yeah. Now, who are some guys that you monitored your game after? Who are some guys you said, man, if I could play like this guy here, I'm going to get everything that I wanted to get out of my NFL career?
Yeah. To be honest with you, you look at the guys back in the day, you look at the Brian McKinney, the Flozell Adams, those type of guys, these guys that are just absolute massive guys, maulers, and you say, man, I want to be like them. But you're just watching them on film, right? So when you're really trying to model your game after somebody in the National Football League, you're really going to have to watch the coach's film copy. Just watching football games, you're not going to be able to implement a lot of that stuff into your game. So when I got here with the Broncos, it was like a Ryan Clady's movement and how he had his hand placement, and it was perfect every single time. I wanted Chris Cooper's quickness off of the line of scrimmage, as far as, being an undersized guy and always able to get first touch and first contact on somebody. I wanted the mind of Zane Beadles because he was so technical. Yeah. And I just wanted the physicality of myself because I knew I was the most physical person in the room.
There we go. Ooh, I like it. All right. So, man, a lot of changes on this team in the offseason. What are your thoughts about this team and the potential that they have right now?
The potential is great out here, and just understanding that you have a quarterback that's been through it all. He has seen how defenses want to play him. He has seen every coverage that known to man, every coverage that you could possibly think in the NFL. That was the other thing with these other quarterbacks that we've had over here the last couple of years. Nothing knocking those guys, but they were young guys, so it was going to take time. Right now, when you get a guy like Russell Wilson, it's, hey, the window is open. He knows how to win. It's not here we go again situation when you're out there. This guy knows how to get after it.
Have you felt that before when you've been on a team?
Absolutely.
And they've gotten a quarterback or a player, you're like, oh, man,
and I'll tell you this, Steve. When I left the Broncos, I went to the Chargers, and I played 2 years for the Chargers. And we would be in games, and you would look at some of the teammates, and we're down by 7. We have 5 minutes left, and they're just hanging their head low on the sidelines. And it's here we go again, and there's no belief in it. So it would be extremely frustrating because I came here and with the Broncos, 4 years in a row AFC West champs, 4 years in a row at least the second round of the playoffs, 1 Super Bowl appearance. We were winning a lot of football games. But it also took that defining moment for us. That's what I'm most excited about this team this year. When's that defining moment going to be? Because for us, when we got Peyton Manning in 2012, it was that Monday night game against the Chargers, being down 24-0.
Yeah.
Because at halftime, I tell you, I got a little tear in my hamstring, and I was getting ready not to go. And Peyton stood up and gave a speech at halftime to the team. I was like, listen, I promise you, we go out there and we play our game, and we play mistake-free football. We're going to win this game. Being down by 24 points, Steve. I went back out there. Everybody went back there, and we just
torn hamstring.
I had a tear in my hamstring. Yeah,
come on, man.
Yeah, went back out there, got it done, but we won. After that game, the best thing happened to us. We all literally looked ourselves we circled up in that locker room after the game and said, if we play our game and we play mistake-free football, there's nobody that could stop us because we have the skilled players and we have the offense and we have the defensive talent. That's what I'm waiting for and we never lost a game for the rest of that season.
Wow.
That's what I'm waiting for this team to happen, because it will happen this year. You have to struggle. You have to go through something. And when they see it, do you recognize it and do you understand that, hey, if you buy in, you're now unstoppable?
Yeah. Now, you play with, like you just mentioned, one of the GOATs of the game in Peyton Manning. When he came to Denver, how was he different from other quarterbacks that you had experienced?
Well, immediately, I remember him being in one of the first couple of team meetings, and he was talking it through with the wide receivers, and he was talking about like a little drag route or a crossing route. So a route that you're going from either the left to the right or to the right to the left. Mm-hmm. And he's talking to these wide receivers. He said, listen, if I put the ball out in front of you, I'm telling you, I want you to take the sideline. I'm telling you that most likely they're in cover 3, that cornerback is far enough where you're not going to get hit. But if I throw that ball now on your back shoulder, you better stop and cut up the field because you're going to get hit with that cover 2 corner that's just sitting there. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, right. Like, just in my mind, yeah, right. Like, whatever you say. And sure enough, just watching practice for like the next couple of days and focusing in on that, every time it's cover 2, the ball's to the inside shoulder, and then you see the receiver cutting up the field.
Protecting the receiver.
Yeah, every time it's quarters or cover 3, now he's putting it to the sideline, telling the receiver, hey, you could go out there. So that's the big difference when now you get a quarterback that just elevates everybody else's play because you see the little things and how they prepare for things and how they're able to understand, but also put the ball exactly where it needs to be.
Well, I wonder, was there much pushback from the players knowing that, hey, we got a great quarterback, but some guys, I'm sure, weren't used to working at that level, being as accountable. And I'm saying that just because we got Russell Wilson here, and I think this team will be going through some of the same things that your team did back the year that Peyton Manning came.
Yeah, well, you just want to win. So I get it. I'll tell you 2 stories real quick. One, Demaryius Thomas. Right, rest in peace, DT.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to attend the funeral last year, but I was out there coaching with the 49ers. But one of the first practices, DT's out here. Peyton and him are running a route. DT ran the route, they don't connect. They go run it again. DT runs the same route, they don't connect. Peyton goes run it again. And he said, did I tell you to run it at 25 or did I tell you to run it at 22? So just because it was off by 3 yards, that's why they weren't connected. And this is an all-pro wide receiver. Almost got to 10,000 yards. An absolute icon here in Colorado.
Right.
So that's now Demaryius Thomas, and that's how the skill positions bought in. Offensive line, you don't have a choice but to buy in. One of our first OTA practices, it said the 1s had 4 reps, the 2s had 4 reps, the 3s had 4 reps. Peyton stayed in after we came out. For the first, we only stayed in for 4 reps. Peyton stayed in and took 2 more reps. The next day, we got cursed out by our coaches, said, listen, offensive line, the starting unit, whenever you see 18 in there, you're in there. You don't come out until he comes out. And there's no pushback to the coaches. It's, okay, let's do it. Let's get it. So there should not be any pushback. You haven't won football games. Yeah. You should be starving and hungry and ready to win and ready to do whatever it takes.
Now, I wonder, because I wonder with Russell Wilson, and I'm asking you these questions about Peyton Manning again because we're in very similar situations. Did Peyton have certain pet peeves with different positions? Just say with an offensive lineman, if you did this, you're going to get him pretty ticked off. And with the guard, if you did that, this is going to tick him off.
Yeah, no, he was just out here to work each and every day. It didn't matter what we were doing. We were going to go full speed. So with Peyton, it was every single day. Once you come out on this field, it's a work day. There's no, I can't go. There's no, let me take a knee. There's no, let me take some reps off. He wouldn't allow younger guys to practice with him. He wouldn't throw them the ball if he wasn't going to throw it to them on Sundays. There was a time where Cody Latimer is in the huddle, and Cody ran a play, and Peyton and him didn't hook up, and Peyton got pissed off. And he's like, Tyke, like, what is he doing out there? Tyke's our wide receiver coach.
Yeah, Tyke.
He's not going to be out there on Sunday. Like, give me DT, give me somebody else.
Yeah. Look at those receivers. We got there, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, man. That's going to be a dominant wide receiver group there. What does it take for this team to take that step to the next level? Now, we know we got the quarterback. We got the pieces in place. Now, is it just the scheme? What has to happen for Broncos country to be like, yes, we're here? This is a team that I've been waiting for the last several years.
Yeah. Well, offensive line-wise, it's going to be big as far as those guys getting down just the track of this offense. Being in this wide zone system, Steve, it's extremely hard because it's all about where you put your hat and now where you put your backside hand every single time. where it's not about physicality and moving a guy backwards off the line of scrimmage. It's about displacement. So taking a guy and moving him from hash to hash. If you're able to do that, you're going to get a very good run game going. So offensive line-wise, that's what it's all about. For the wide receivers, it's about getting down to these concepts.
You got Cam Fleming over there. He came in because Tom Compton had to have a surgery kind of at the last minute. And Cam Fleming obviously was here with the team last year. And I thought that it was going to be Tom Compton and then the other tackle from Billy Turner competing for that starting right tackle position. Now, okay, Cam Fleming's in the mix there.
Yeah, so Cam's a big body. Cam's going to have to learn how to get this system down because, like I said, it's all about that track and being able to get that displacement. Cam's used to being a mauler, moving guys vertically. So Butch Berry and company, this offensive line staff has a lot of work cut out for them in getting this offensive line rolling in the right direction because it's hard. This track is hard. In this offense, Steve, offensive line-wise, you salivate at the mouth because you want to be able to play in this offense because a lot of it is the exact same thing. The run game looks like the passing game.
Yeah.
So once you're doing it, it's very repetitive where you're going to be doing the same things a lot. And you rely on the run game now to go get the play-action pass. You're not going to sit back there and drop back pass for 20 times a game in this offense. So offensive line-wise, you want to be in this offense as bad as possible. But it's extremely hard to get the footwork down and the technique in this. So every single day, these guys need to pick something. One little thing. If it's hat placement, it's hat placement. If it's hand, it's hand. If it's first two steps, it's that. But offensive line-wise, you got to worry about doing that every single day to make sure you get it down. Because if they do get it down, the run game looks so much like the passing game where you're going to be absolutely unstoppable. For the offense, though, when you start looking at these other rooms, Steve, this offense is the most complex at the wide receiver room, the tight end room, and the running back room because you're running concepts and the words mean different things. So these wide receivers got to get in that playbook. It's going to be hard for them. They're going to be lined up and really tested their formations and the different packages. But once you get that down, you're absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah.
And you know that this defense is ready to play.
Oh, yeah. Now, Garrett Bowles, does this offense fit his skill set, or does he have to adapt to this offense? Or did he already, what I'm saying? Did what he already do well fit well with this scheme?
Yeah, so Garrett's going to be all right in this scheme. What's going to help out Garrett? Last year we saw Garrett play a career low games, but gave up a season high in sacks last year. What's going to help him out is because you're going to get a lot more play action that looks very similar to the run.
Right.
So he's going to be able to disguise things a lot more. Where Garrett's going to have to work at is going to have to work on his track and in this wide zone scheme and where does he put his hat placement because it makes a difference every single time. But if he's able to get that down, I anticipate him having a better year than he did last year. And this fits everybody. It makes it easier for everybody because you're not sitting back there like last year 25 times, under Pat Shurmur where you're sitting back there and you got to go block and you got to hold up. Now you could make it look like the run and really take some shots and be aggressive.
Now, are there any guys along that offensive line who you feel need to take it to another level this year?
Dalton Reiser. I feel like Dalton came in and had a really good rookie year, and I feel like Dalton could be one of the best guards in this league, but it's all about him taking control and saying, this is what I want to do. So Dalton's my guy that I think could really take it to the next level, but I'm also looking forward to Lloyd Cushenberry because I think Lloyd is on the cusp of exploding, and I know a lot of people have been down on Lloyd, but it's the offense that was run. It didn't work for him. Mm-hmm. This system fits Lloyd Cushenberry to a T.
Okay.
This matches what he was doing at LSU. This system could have Lloyd coming from a guy that is not a top 10 guy to even making a first Pro Bowl this year.
Okay,
if he does what he's supposed to do.
I like that. Yeah, because I felt like Lloyd was a little bit, I won't say passive, but he was doing more catching last year, but that may have been the offensive scheme that they were running. But he'll get a chance to get off the ball, get running, get that big body in motion, and be able to get on to some of the defensive linemen. So that's very positive to hear. What are your thoughts on Quinn Miners?
Love Quinn. Quinn has that Canadian background. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, so love him. I think there's a true battle, though, at the end of the day, because I've seen a little
between
bit of him and Natai Moody.
Yeah. Natai Moody.
I've seen Natai Moody and Quinn Myers rotating with that that first-team group over the last couple days. So it's going to be interesting to see.
So where's Graham Glasgow?
Graham Glasgow's running with the twos at the left guard position.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting because I think that's the right side is up for grabs.
Yeah.
It's who's going to take over. Is it Quinn Myers? Is it Natai Moody? It's going to be very interesting. Both guys, very similar guys. Both guys are very powerful. One guy, Natai Moody, brings a little bit more power once he gets there, but the other guy has better footwork in this wide zone scheme. So it's going to be interesting to see if Quentin Miners could close the gap and bring a little bit more power to block in at the line of scrimmage, or if Natai Moody could close the gap and bring a little bit more quickness off the line of scrimmage, because whoever's able to do that and get the more complete game is going to win that position.
Well, you're an offensive lineman. You're a specialty. You're a specialist, so your eyes are better at that than mine. But for my eyes, I'm a Quinn Miners fan.
Yeah.
I love Quinn Miners' game. I love how he works, not only during the play, but once most people stop going hard on defense, he's still going. He's going to the whistle.
Yeah, he's going to be down the field 20 yards trying to lay somebody out.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that about his game as well. That's how I try to play the game. So I'm hoping for this team that it is Quentin Miners, because I love his quickness. What I have just seen is just that rotation. So that's what
right.
is like,
Absolutely.
whoa, what's going on here?
Something's happening.
Because we haven't seen any rotation at any other position. It's been very consistent since the start of training camp that Garrett Bowles has been the starting left tackle, that Dalton Rice has been the starting left guard, that Lloyd Cushenberry has been the center, that Calvin Anderson has been the right tackle. The only position that has seen some rotation is the right guard position, where we've seen a couple days of Quentin Miners and a couple days of Natai Moody.
Now, Calvin Anderson, he has some adjustments to make as well, because he usually played left tackle. He really hasn't had any experience game-wise playing right tackle. I'm sure he has in practice. So we talked a little bit about that earlier, just the adjustments that he'll have to make playing a new position there. But I want to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line. You block many of those guys. And let's first start from the tackle position. This will be Garrett Bowles and probably Calvin Anderson at this point. What makes that position difficult, and what types of defensive players are most difficult to block? And you're looking at our guys. We got Draymond Jones. You got DJ Jones. Will be more out there with the tackle than the edge guys, obviously.
So just looking at these defensive tackles that we have here with the Broncos, Draymond Jones. I love Draymond's background, because Draymond comes from that boxing background, and he uses his hands really well. And from day one, I've thought that of Draymond as a guy that, hey, if you let him and kind of cut him loose and get to his secondary pass rush moves, he could have a lot of success. So I think Draymond is on the cusp of being able to have a big-time year. What now helps Draymond is the fact that they were able to get the other Jones brother, DJ Jones.
Yeah.
I was out there last year in San Francisco with DJ Jones, and at the end of the season, we sat in a room and we locked ourselves up, and the offensive line coaches watched all the defensive players. DJ Jones was the second best defensive lineman that the San Francisco 49ers had on the team, next to Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
So DJ is not just a run stopper as well. DJ could also rush the passer. So that's what he brings to this team, which is really going to help Draymond Jones out. So defensive tackle-wise, I think we're going to be amazing. I love Purcell's too. I think there's going to be so much that you could do with these guys. That, I think Deshaun Williams, what he's been able to do the last couple of years, he really kind of just burst on the scene 2 years ago. Super excited about all these guys, but the guy to watch for me is Draymond and DJ Jones, because those guys are going to be able to get after it, and I think that they're going to play majority of the snaps this year for the Broncos.
Yeah, we got a couple of young guys as well. The rookie Matt Henningsen and also the rookie Ioma Uwazurike. Have you gotten a chance to see them at all out here?
A little bit with those guys, but right now, those guys have been running with the threes and with the twos. And
so when they're on the field, you turn your head.
No, it's not that I'm turning my head. When they're on the field, they're expected to win.
Yeah.
Because you're going against guys that are some guys that haven't been drafted, or some guys that are not, well or pro ready as you guys are. So I have seen those guys go out there and look good. Yeah. Nothing to brag about, but they're not getting as many reps as well.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in the starters, Steve. I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta watch these guys. I gotta see you get a good feel on what's gonna happen. And we're so deep. We just mentioned a bunch of defensive tackles. We didn't even talk about McTelvin Ajim, right? Yeah. So we're so deep at that position where it's just like, man, you could get a nice, good rotation going this year. And, it's not no more where these guys have to play 90% of the snaps, because I always thought that was a little ridiculous when you're saying, hey, you have to play 90% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing for offensive linemen is going on a 7-play drive, going in a huddle, on now your 8th play where you're huffing and puffing a little bit, and you break the huddle and see a brand new defensive line unit in there. You're just like, are you kidding me?
Exactly.
This makes, the more of that you could do, the better off, because those offensive linemen get tired out there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Receivers used to do that all the time. I'm sure they still do. Defensive backs got to stay on the field, but the receivers are rotating in and out, and they get a fresh guy in there after they run you off to the end zone. So that's funny. What about Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory, that edge position, and now also moving out there, Baron Browning from the inside linebacker position last year. What do you think is special about this group? Now, obviously, injuries will play a big part in them. As long as they're on the field, I think they're great. But what do you see in this group?
Yeah, I'm super excited for Bradley Chubb, just being it's his first year, not having to rehab something in the offseason. That's kind of crazy. Going into your 5th year, and this is the first time that you didn't have to spend your offseason on an operating table and now rehabbing something. So I'm looking for Bradley Chubb to burst on the scene a lot better even than we noticed his rookie year when he had the 3 sacks against Andrew Whitworth when they played against the Rams. So I think Bradley Chubb's going to get off to a fast start this year. What really excites me about that room is the depth, though, because now you have Randy Gregory. Now you have Nick Benito as well. You got Malik Reed, the Energizer Bunny, that just keeps going and going and going, right?
Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah, Jonathan Cooper, and also Baron Browning. It's crazy. It's kind of like, man, it's like we're going to have a WrestleMania event every single day as far as who's going to be the 4 guys that we're dressing come Sundays, which that brings the competition that you need.
Yes.
This team hasn't had that. There's been so many times over the last couple of years where it's like, hey, you're the starter, go, okay, each and every week. Okay, there's no competition, here you go. Now, no, these guys have to get after it. And if you have a bad game, you're in jeopardy of not being active the upcoming week. And that's what this team needs, because when your Super Bowl window opens and you're looking to win a lot of postseason games and you're looking to take this thing as far as possible, you have to have the guys of the mindset where my position is not given, it's earned. And every single day I go out there and I earn a roster spot or I earn a game day spot for the Broncos.
So this is the 5th day of training camp, with Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and back here for the 5th day. Pads go on tomorrow. What changes when the pads go on?
For who? Because offensive lineman, defensive lineman, nothing, because it's been basically full pads since day one. With offensive line, defensive line, as soon as you put your helmet, it's full go.
Well, this is from me, not being an offensive or defensive lineman. I always viewed it as though when you put the pad, when they don't have the pads on, the defensive lineman may have a little bit of an edge because you guys can't hold.
Yeah. No. I was just joking around, Steve. The big thing that happens tomorrow now when you put the pads on, it's offensive line, defensive lineman. It's a battle. It's the Royal Rumble. It's the gladiator days.
Yes.
There's no, I'm going to hit you and fit you up and stop. No, I'm going to hit you and I'm going to try to demoralize you because you're trying to demoralize me. So that's the big difference. And now when these linebackers come blitzing, the offensive linemen, you get to tee off on them. And these linebackers have to use their hands now. And it can't just come in and try to duck underneath, because you're going to get hit and probably lose that battle because you're giving up about 70 pounds to an offensive lineman. So you got to be more technically refined, I would say, when you put your shoulder pads on. And that body's just going to get a whole lot more sore.
Yeah. Now, I want you to answer this question honestly.
Well,
I hate to ask it, but I got to ask it. On what percentage of the plays would you say there's holding by offensive line?
100%.
Thank you. All right.
Absolutely.
There we go.
100%.
You were honest.
If you're not holding, you're not trying. 100%. I've held every single play in my whole entire career. 100%.
All right, there we go. All right, Alexis, back over to you. Appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Steve. Broncos country, London is calling. I am so excited for you to have this amazing opportunity to win a 5-night stay in London for the Broncos Week 8 game at Wembley Stadium up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This includes first-class round-trip tickets for 2, a behind-the-scenes experience at Broncos practice and on game day, and so much more. This trip is valued at over $22,000, and all you have to do is go to broncosraffle.com. You have 1 ticket for $50, 3 for $100, 8 for $200, and 25 tickets for just $500. The best part, all proceeds benefit Denver Broncos charities. So head to broncosraffle.com right now for a chance to win. And just a reminder for you, you must be 18 or older and in Colorado to play. Head coach Nathaniel Hackett on the podium. I'm sure he's fielding questions about Courtland Sutton and Pat Surtain going head-to-head today. That was an exciting battle to watch. What are these guys able to take from that matchup, and how will this make them better here this upcoming season?
It was definitely a benefit that both of these guys get a chance to practice against each other. 2 top-tier guys, 2 Pro Bowl caliber players, and I think it's a blessing. And they both are competing. They both feel like they want to take a jump. Although Pat Surtain didn't make the Pro Bowl, I think he should have made the Pro Bowl last year. I think he'll be a certain Pro Bowl this year if he's able to stay healthy throughout the year. Same with Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton coming back, obviously, off of the knee injury from a couple of years ago, played the full season last year. I was totally impressed with that he was able to make it through the season, wore the brace, was still effective. This year, I think he's going to have a year that's off the charts.
Sutton with a touchdown today. Of course, Pat Surtain with a pass breakup, so it's fun watching that battle throughout camp for sure. Also, KJ Hamler, a familiar face, but we haven't seen him a ton out especially this training camp, but really the past few years since he's been a Denver Bronco. He was activated off the PUP list today. What does he add to this Broncos offense?
Well, he has speed, he has explosion, he has great hands as well. I love seeing KJ work his way up the middle of the field, and put stress on those defensive backs. I remember back when we played, if a speedy guy was in the game, we make a note of it, and we had to back up 2 or 3 yards.
Cheat a little bit?
Just to make sure that we got enough cushion to where if we had to turn and run, we can get out of there without him getting on us too fast. And KJ presents that problem for a lot of defenses. And hopefully teams won't remember that. Hopefully they just say, oh, this guy, he was hurt last year,
exactly.
So we can just play him up close and let them find out the hard way.
Ton of energy from this team here today. This was a 2-hour moderate practice. That means that they were in shoulder pads, shorts, and helmets. Tomorrow, though, Steve, it's your favorite time of the year. Full pads come on tomorrow here for the Denver Broncos. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means the world. It means that you can really tell the real players from the pretenders. And we know most of the guys are the real players. We know who those guys are. But sometimes when guys come in camp, new guys come to the team, they're full speed when you're in mini camp and don't have on any pads. But once the pads go on, things change. You get a chance to see who those players really are, and we'll get a chance to see that. That's why I reserve all of my judgments until I see players practice with the pads on, see them run up in the gaps and seeing if they're going to continue to run or if they're going to slow down, like I've seen many people do over my career.
Yes, I think we'll really start to see some of those offensive line position battles. You know, there's going to start to be some guys who really start to show what they're made of here once the pads come on. But we are so sad that that does it for today's show. But don't forget that we have you covered right here at DenverBroncos.com, the Broncos 365 app, and of course the Denver Broncos YouTube channel each day of training camp. Be sure to catch this show at 5 p.m. each and every day. And for our next show, we hope that you guys will join us tomorrow as we have Broncos Ring of Fame linebacker Carl Mecklenburg here on the stage with Steve Atwater. Steve, thank you so much for the time today. For the smiling assassin, Big O, Mike Kliss, and of course our amazing crew behind the scenes. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow.
Go Broncos! Let's go!
Fuck.